Hello YouTube and welcome back to Fire Gaming Project. So in this short video, I'm going to be doing an updated review for Kazuha. So now, just so we're clear, at the time of this publishing, it is right before the 2.5 preview live stream, which is happening tomorrow in my time zone. So nothing is officially announced yet at this time for this purpose of this video. Now, I previously did a predictions video and I actually did two of them, but in my most latest one and also in the original one, actually in both, I actually picked Kazuha as a rerun candidate for my predictions. Now, how do I feel about that now that the 2.5 is preview live stream is upon us tomorrow? I still feel there's a slight chance that Kazuha is going to be available for rerun in 2.5. However, I'm also thinking that maybe MiHoYo has other plans for him, and then maybe they're going to save him for a future update, such as maybe 2.6 or 2.7 instead. And that's okay. So regardless of that, I'm still going to post this review right now because I recently kind of slightly rebuilt him. And as some of you guys have been watching my live streams, I also got his Freedom Sworn weapon, which I'll talk about a little bit more. Basically, I think a few weeks ago, or at the end of the tail end of right, actually the last few days before Hu Tao's weapon banner ended. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? And I will say, Kazuha is still one of my most favorite characters, and I still feel that he is the best ANEMO support character in the game. You can also use him as a sub DPS as well. And previously, I'm still having a slight hybrid build of him, but then previously he was more of a sub DPS build. So here we go. Um, I have his, so my fault is that I can't get his crit rate higher. I actually have been refarming the Very Distant Venerer artifacts domain basically the last week, and I haven't gotten anything good. I was farming it specifically to try to rebuild him as an EM character with Elemental Mastery, and I can say today, as of today, right before this stream, I was able to pick up an okay Elemental Mastery piece. But then in the end, I still only got one, and I was trying to get two. Like, anyway, I'll go into it. So anyway, his crit rate could be higher, obviously. His crit damage is okay, but these could be higher. But because we're building him as Elemental Mastery, technically crit doesn't really make a difference, to be very honest with you. Energy recharge could be higher, obviously, then he can proc more stuff. This CD reduction is only because I teamed up another ANEMO character in this team, so this is from the this is basically from the bonus from the ANEMO, like the Elemental Resonance. Yeah, so don't pay too much attention to that. Animal damage bonus, I still put that on his artifact, of course. Weapons, I did talk about this. I got his Freedom Sworn. Now, here's the thing. I do think that they're going to re-release him, and I've said this before. When they rerun him, I think they're going to release a new weapon with him. As you can see, this weapon is a Mondstadt-styled weapon, and it doesn't even match his aesthetic. It's blue, and he's red. Okay, they're definitely, in my opinion, when they rerun him, and that's why I think that maybe it's not coming in 2.5 now. Chronologically, yes, he should be coming in 2.5 because he's like one of the next characters to come. However, they don't always go in order of when they debut, right? Which we all know, right? And I'm thinking, the thing is that they're probably going to release him again with a new weapon that's going to be in the style of a katana because he's a Ronin samurai after all. And for him to use a Western style sword like this doesn't make sense. But definitely, this is his current best weapon technically because it's elemental mastery for him because he's ANEMO and swirling and all that stuff. And the passive, I'm not going to read it because it's long. It's an essay right there. But basically, yeah, it increases his damage. It gives him whenever he triggers elemental reactions, there's sigils that he can gain, and then basically they're like stacks, right? And then they'll consume the stacks, and there will just be more like it's really long. I'm not going to read it, right? But basically, then there will be increased damage for charged, normal charged, plunging attack damage, and attack overall is increased as well, etc. And this is similar to Eula's Claymore. Apparently, even if you put them both in the same team, you can't stack the overall passive twice. It even says at the bottom, the buffs of the similar type will not be stacked, and they have the same passive. Okay, so let me go back to other weapons. So previous to this, what did I give him? I actually gave him, where is it? I gave him the Black Sword at one point, and I also gave him the Black Cliff Longsword at one point. I think those are okay because they have crit on them, and it was a way to build him as, a sub DPS, and also because they match him aesthetically. The Blackcliff Longsword being a Chinese style sword, but it's red at least, you know, and this is also red and black, so they're both suitable. But this is more of a Mondstadt style sword again. Anyway, this Mist Splitter would work on him, but however, he will never get full stacks unless you actually have him at C6, because to get full stacks, you need to infuse the sword with an elemental type, and just swiping with him is just me physical damage, so there's no element there. And he only gets an ANEMO infusion with, I think, C6 for his constellation, so that's not realistic for most players, including myself. Um, the other sword that's really good for him, technically, arguably, is the Primordial Jade Cutter, and this does match him kind of too. It's another Chinese style sword, but it is aesthetically pleasing to look for him as well because it's green and HP. Although it's HP for the passive, but it is a universally really good weapon that is good for most sword users, including him, of course, and it has a crit rate substat even, and an attack bonus too. Okay, and then Skyward Blade, energy recharge. I mean, he doesn't have major energy issues, but if you have this, this is a universal weapon. Same goes for Aquila. Now, he's not really meant to be a physical DPS or physical damage dealer, but you could build him that way. I do end up swiping with him, like slashing and swiping with his normal attacks and such too, but you'll find that you end up just using him for his E and his Q and swapping him in and out, but you can swipe with him and he's okay for that as well. The Cinnabar Spindle is not for him. The Festering Desire is definitely okay as well, because you will end up using his E skill more than his Q, because the E just has a shorter cooldown and it just happens more often and it can do its job, right? I talked about the Black Cliff and the Black Sword already. Sacrificial is okay for him, but not necessary. The Flute is not necessarily for him either. It's okay if you're just starting out and you have nothing better. Same goes for Prototype Rancor. Again, physical damage is not for him. Favonius is a very universal sword, but really, it's fine because he's support, right? So energy is always good, and elemental mastery is always good for any of the other elemental mastery swords. I don't think there are that many though. The Amenoma is a katana, and it has a sort of the passive is sort of like an energy recharge type of passive. So this could be okay too if you level it up and have it at R5. But remember, it is craftable, so you would have to have enough billets to make it R5. This is okay, so it's not horrible on him, but it's not going to be his best. This one is okay if you team up with Pyro and Electro. Remember, he's ANEMO and he can swirl those elements, so he can get that little bonus if you want to do it that way as well. So we'll leave it at that. Basically, in my opinion, yeah, the best ones for him are probably Primordial Jade Cutter and Freedom Sworn if you're willing to go for these. If not, then on the 4-star side, then the Black Cliff and the Black Sword are good, or the Festering Desire. If you were around when this was released, this is an event-exclusive weapon from 1.2, so for the newer players, you will not have this. So then you should go for the Amenoma instead. Favonius, again, is a good placeholder one. So yeah, we'll stick with those. Artifacts. His best set is four-piece Viridescent Venerer. There is no point talking about any other set, really. That's how my reviews have been going recently. I've just been only talking about their best set, ideally. Now, I may not have the best pieces. I definitely don't. But best set-wise, yeah, you just have to go with the best set, honestly. Try your best. Okay, and your stats, like, so this is the one that I just got earlier today. It's Elemental Mastery as the main stat, and I'm trying to rebuild him as Elemental Mastery because obviously I got the Freedom Sworn, so it just makes sense to swing him more towards the EM build side versus previously I had him on the, I had this one on him, the attack one, where he had 21% extra crit damage here, but very little Elemental Mastery. So I swapped it over to this one, so there's some extra energy recharge and there's a little bit extra crit rate, but it's not that big of a deal, again, because crit rate and crit damage doesn't make that big of a deal anymore when you're trying to build them as Elemental Mastery. Now for this one, I did look and there are no other, I don't have any other better ANEMO damage cups. Now, and I also don't have an Elemental Mastery cup, unfortunately. So this is the as good as I can get, and at least the the crit damage is high, but again, that may not matter. And then this one is a crit rate Viridescent Venerer piece with some crit damage on there and some attack. It didn't roll perfectly, obviously, because there is a defense on there, but then this is as good as I can get. I couldn't get better pieces. Again, I've been farming the Viridescent Venerer for the last week, and I can't get any better pieces. Ideally, I was going to get an Elemental Mastery piece here with crit rate and crit damage substat or energy recharge in the bottom, or but I couldn't, so I'm just going to go with this. Constellations, I actually don't have any constellations on him, and I don't feel that you need any on 5-star characters. But if you were to go for him, C1 just decreases the cooldown of his E. It is actually not even that necessary. C2, this is where the big damage comes because he will get more elemental mastery and he can increase the elemental mastery of the other characters basically in your party as well. And therefore, that makes him a really good support. If he was to be rerun and if I have enough Primogems, and if I'm lucky enough, I would like to get him to C2, if not even maybe even C3. C3 is useful because like I said, his E is more often used than his Q, so this is for buffing his E by 3 levels, so I wouldn't mind going to C3, but let's just see. I'm trying to be very low spend on this account, so so I'm not trying to, go for it, and he's been fine just at C0. I'm not going to go any further beyond, but basically, yeah, let's just quickly go through it. C4, yeah, it just makes him regenerate more energy. C5 is plus 3 levels for his Q, his burst. C6, this is one where he has an ANEMO infusion for his attacks, basically his normal and charge and plunging. So this is where if you have a Mist Splitter, an extra one kicking around, you can give that to him then. Alrighty, talent-wise, I have actually triple crowned him. He is, I think, one of the only other characters outside of Raiden Shogun that I went ahead and triple crowned. Oh, actually, sorry, I did not triple crown him. I'm about to. This plus 10 levels here is because I have Child in this team. Sorry. So because I don't actually need to triple crown him, but I wouldn't mind triple crowning him. I stand corrected. Yeah. So he's double crowned. Yes, so these two are his most important. Now, if you don't plan to use him that much for normal and charge attacks, then maybe you shouldn't even bother leveling this, to be very honest with you. You can just save those resources. But I do like using him, and I don't mind, attacking with him. Therefore, I brought him up to level 9. So, yeah, but now that I think about it, maybe I won't bring him to crown this, and I can save the crown for someone else, because I only have one crown left at this point, from the Sakura tree. All the other crowns, if you check out my crowning video, have been used already. Okay, so this one is just talking about if he swirls, then he gains additional attack, okay? Yeah, his E basically. And this one is upon triggering swirls, then he will grant all party members extra elemental damage bonus based on the element that has been absorbed into the swirl, right? And that's scaling off of his EM. So this will help now that I've kind of given him a little bit more of an EM boost with the weapon and with changing out the artifact piece, at least the one that I could, to an elemental mastery main stat one. And then this one just decreases his sprinting stamina consumption for your party members, and it's not stackable, etc. Alrighty, so because he is a support character but can deal good damage, he is meant to be in this team with other characters, so let's just get to it. I'm going to use Child here just to break this shield, and then I'm going to basically, I'm going to try to use him to infuse. Oh, there we go. So then we're going to go here. Now, he won't be strong enough, to kill it on his own, but you can build him that way. It's not horrible, right? It's not horrible. It's decent, right? Now, I apologize that I didn't actually bring another elemental character. So we're just going to have to go with this then. Okay. So yeah, and then it at least infused the fire, right? But anyway, yeah. So one thing I could have did in this showcase instead was, instead of bringing Zhongli or Jean, I could have brought maybe some other elemental character to swirl with, but that's okay. Regardless, as you can see on the screen, Kazuha swirled the fire from the flower itself, right? Now that's not really going to do much more damage to the flower itself, but that's okay because then because it's swirling the fire around, then my Kazuha can help that, and then my Tartaglia, my Child can then do the hydro and then create the reactions, etc. That will also apply for other characters, of course. So this was just, I again brought Tartaglia just to break the shield of this enemy. Anyway, I'm dragging this on a little bit too long, so I'm going to stop it here. Please do check out my other videos. Again, I do feel that Kokomi and Raiden Shogun have a high chance to be rerun at 2.5, and Kazuha still has a small chance to be rerun, but we will know more tomorrow once the preview event is live and on. And I will definitely be doing extra videos talking about that afterwards. So do stay tuned for those, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.